Hello, my name is Eric Winchenbach, and I'm going to give a short demonstration on an application that we've built to help support the use case of motor pool operators managing checking vehicles into and out of the motor pools that they maintain. Currently, in the current environment, the motor pool operators don't have a lot of visibility into exactly where all the vehicles in their fleet are, or an easy way of checking them into or out of the motor pool. So they need a flexible solution that will provide quick tools that everybody involved in the process can leverage without impeding their mission at hand. So we have four actors that we're going to use to illustrate this demonstration. The first one is Sergeant Hamilton. She's the motor sergeant. Her job is simply to find the appropriate vehicles and to check them in and out. In our scenario, she's going to check a vehicle out to Private Jefferson, and his job is to drive the vehicle and report where he goes, and when he stops, where he stops. And the third actor is Jim Adams. He's our motor pool support staff person. He's a contractor responsible for supporting the environment. All right, so this is the timeline of the storyboard that we're going to demonstrate. Sergeant Hamilton is our first actor, and she's going to check the vehicle in. She's going to check out a vehicle to Private First Class Jefferson. So let's take a look at see what that looks like. So here I've logged into the dashboard as Sergeant Hamilton. She has four vehicles in her motor pool. We can see them listed here. Two of them are in the pool. Two of them are out in the field. They've been dispatched to Orfeo and to Andy. And we can see the dates that they were dispatched. But right now she needs to satisfy this request to give a vehicle to Private Jefferson. So he needs this LMTV, and it's in the pool. The gas and the oil are in good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and dispatch that now to Private Jefferson, and we'll dispatch it today. We'll use today's date, and I click dispatch, and now that we see that's over in the dispatch column and who has it and when they checked it out. So what we see there, so why was that important? Why was that important? Well, Sergeant Hamilton can quickly see what vehicles are available and update their status. And now that vehicle is in the hands of Private Jefferson. So his job is going to be to operate the vehicle and report on the vehicle's location as he has it out in the field. And to do that, he's going to use this mobile application that's on the iPad. That's on his iPad. So let me show you what that looks like. This is his iPad. He could be doing this on his phone. I just happen to be using an iPad today. But he has a choice here in this application to choose the vehicle that was assigned to him. This is the one that was right here. And he just needs to record where his stops are. So I have some shortcuts here to make that simple. Maybe the first location that he goes is in Armonk. And we'll put that as he went there today. And when did he get there? Maybe 11 o'clock this morning. And when does he leave? Again today. And we'll make this time as maybe noon, right? And he creates a stop, enters it in his list of stops. So that was the first one there. We'll do one more just so we have a little bit more data in here. When he leaves Armonk, maybe he goes down to Bethesda. And I'll create a stop there. So you can see as he drives around in his vehicle, he doesn't necessarily have network connectivity. He can make these stops, enter them onto his quickly and easily onto his tablet, and then when he is connected, the data will be written back to the main system. So why is that important? Well, it's important because by being able to do this on an iPad, he doesn't have to write it down on a tablet piece of paper somewhere and then enter the data in later. So the data gets entered quickly while it's relevant, and it provides immediate feedback to the other users in the environment. So let's take a look at what that looks like to the other users of the environment. So as I did that, back on the dashboard, Sergeant Hamilton has the ability to keep track of the data that he's entered. There's the vehicle that's still in the field by Private First Class Jefferson, but now we see there's a couple of stops that he's made. He's told us about those. I can do one more of those. We can show a third one show up. Wait, give me just 1 second to do that. Before I do, let's take a look at, in addition to the table data that's being entered, we can see in real time and chart the vehicle's location. Here's where he started up here in Armonk, and then his second stop was down here into Bethesda, Maryland. So let's do one more just so you can see that happen again. So back on the iPad, now let's imagine that Private Jefferson, I'm going to make another stop. Let's go to, oh, I don't know, let's make this, I'll type one in here. We'll make this, how about Pittsburgh, PA. I'll create a stop for that. And then again, back here, just so you can see that happened in real time up here, the vehicle dispatch operator can see now her vehicle went out to Pittsburgh. So this data is all being reported in real time, providing insight into this fleet from anybody in the organization. The Private First Class Jefferson has the ability to quickly and easily enter the data that's required of him as he drives around, and Sergeant Hamilton can keep track of her vehicles. The third actor that we're going to demonstrate quickly is Jim Adams, the motor pool staff support person. So he gets a request to make an enhancement to the application. So let's take a look. Let's see what that looks like. So now I'm going to go into the development environment for this web application that is the dashboard. And there it is right there, the vehicle dashboard application. And the change that he's going to make is we're going to change. When I did this before, the person who we were dispatching the vehicles to right here. Well, let me back up just a second. So this is the development environment for the application. On the left is the widgets that I can use to create the web application. In the center is the palette of where I assemble the application, shows what different parts of it are look like. And over here on the right are some different pages of the application. The request that he's gotten is to make a change to these entry fields that say who the vehicle was dispatched to and who it was returned by. Currently, that's just an entry field, so people could type anything that they want in here. But the enhancement request is, can you let me pick those names off of a list to help ensure that my data is a little bit more clean, because we know who the drivers are going to be, perhaps, or we can keep track of who the drivers are, so we don't want them typing those names. We want them picking them off a list. So I'm going to get rid of this entry field, and I'm going to come over here to a drop-down list. I'm going to drag that out onto the canvas instead. So I'm going to say, change the label on that to dispatch to, and now I'm going to open the properties of that entry field. And I can see that if I click the edit button for the options, I could hard code the values here, right? That's not really going to work for me in the case of a list of names. I want to look them up from somewhere. So rather than hard coding what's in my drop-down list, I'm going to change this to what we call a service call in Forms Experience Builder, which is basically allowing me to look up from another table that who the valid drivers are. So I'm going to add a new service, and I'm going to select in my current application, that's the table where I keep track of the drivers. Right here, it's the drivers. Throughout my application, I have a bunch of services that are created for me as I've built out this application. In particular, in this case, I want the drivers search service. So I'm going to choose that one. There are no inputs to it because I'm not filtering a list. Basically, I'm just selecting all of them. So the list that I'm going to get back, I'm going to map the result of the driver's first name over into the dispatched to value, and I'm going to dispatch it to the saved and the displayed values. And that's all it takes to turn that entry field into a drop-down that's a lookup into another table. I'm going to save my changes here, and then I can preview what those changes are going to look like. My application is not live yet because I'm still in a development environment with it, even though I've saved it. So let's take a little preview and validate that my change is going to work the way I expect it to. So now I can see that dispatch list is a drop-down, and I have 3 drivers there that I can now choose from. And then all I need to do, get out of preview mode, I can go back to manage my forms. and then I know that my application has pending changes right there because it says I have changes that are saved, but they're not yet deployed. So in order to make my application live, all I have to do is click the deploy button and choose update. And now my vehicle dispatch dashboard has been updated that quickly in the new runtime environment for it. So the next time that Sergeant Hamilton goes in there to dispatch vehicles, that change will be live for her. So why is that important? Well, Jim Adams was able to quickly make the required changes without a lot of technical skill, right? It was quite simple visual interface to make an enhancement to the application. So a wide range of people are going to be able to do that in the organization. And the time required to field application updates is extremely short compared to what it might be in a traditional application development environment. So what we've seen here is an illustration of how IBM's Forms Experience Builder can provide the necessary capabilities to support a wide range of use cases, and several of them were illustrated in the vehicle dispatch scenario, from collecting information, tracking and updating it, whether the vehicles were in or out of the pool, whether they're available or not, who were they tracked out to. And then our process here that we automated was a circular one, maintaining the state of the vehicles, and then actually collecting the data again on the vehicles and where they're at. And it's easy to see how we could continue to grow this application, and have the system alert us as to when maybe how many miles a vehicle has traveled versus when its last oil change was done, and give us some preventative measures for maintenance so we can get ahead of problems that might occur in the vehicles. All right, thank you very much. I hope this has been illustrative, and we look forward to having further conversations about how IBM Forms Experience Builder can help solve problems like these and many more.